here we are now. So for everyone who did already a little bit with DBT will immediately see, okay, this looks a lot like a DBT project, and it is one. And so we already have a model ready here that I just got from you, which is you are using internally to do just what we just described, to basically analyze the GitHub data to basically then get some metrics out of it. And as far as I can, so correct me if I'm wrong. So I think you're using Fivetran to pull the GitHub data. Then
Yep.
GitHub data comes as when we did another session, we already discussed this on very extent. So that GitHub data comes in a very weird shape, just because of GitHub in itself.
Yeah, the API just doesn't map to what you think.
No.
What I imagine a pull request, I think under the hood is actually an issue. So
Exactly.
like and what a pull request is actually like a review. Anyway, the API is
So
a really good advert for just the
exactly.
transform layer in general, right? It's like making business, like entities that make sense to the business and composing those from the underlying like API objects, which you assume would map one-to-one, but they really don't.
Yeah, well, it's also like it's a good use case for at least people who don't really work a lot in data use cases and always just ask, okay, why does the dashboard take so long? So it's such a straightforward thing. So we should have it already today because we asked for it yesterday. And so one of the reasons is like because like you don't get the things in a shape that makes sense how you want to work with it. And so just like there's a lot of stuff in here which basically does this kind of translation. So in the end, like what you did is like I say, okay, we take the data in the shape that GitHub and Fivetran is providing us, and we translate it to the kind of, let's say, mindset and what we want to analyze it. And so, and then in the end, it just let me see. So in the end, we then just have, let's say, this final thing that is built up by a lot of different kind of transformation that in the end gives us, let's say, the data in some kind of shape that we can analyze it.
Yeah, that's right. And so this joins together a whole bunch of different tables. It has some business logic in there. You can see, so there's the cycle time hours. It took some time to figure out, but that's basically the difference. The difference between when the pull request was. You can kind of see that issues.created at, and issues.merged at. Although one's called issue merged, one's called issues. I can't even remember, but it's a good point. It's sometimes. I've even thought this before as someone in data. It's like, how different can it be? You know, I can see in the GitHub UI there's a tab called pull requests. How hard can it be to get the list of pull requests? But it is really difficult. There are lots of foreign keys. It will tell you the ID of the user who created the pull request, but not their name. And almost always, when you query this, you don't just want like an ID. You want more information. So you're kind of enriching the information, you're joining it together. And that's what we've done here in this DBT project.
Yeah, and the interesting thing is like, especially, I have the benefit, I worked on the product side. So I worked with product engineers for quite some time. And of course, I know these kind of conversations. So you basically have a product and then you feel out, okay, we need this kind of feature. It looks really cool. And then someone from the development side, let's say, yeah, we already have this concept, for example, of issues. We can just make a special version of it. And then this is like this new feature. And so from the outside, it looks like it's a totally different thing. But because like historically it was not, and someone at some point said, okay, we introduce it. And someone from engineering said, actually, we don't really have to create something really new. We can just pick something which is already there. And so because like product is designed in application design. So like they say, okay, we have to make sure that the application works and can serve the purpose of the user. Interestingly, is like the world of application and data can be sometimes extremely different. And at least like this is where I see my work a lot, is like bridging this gap between application and data use cases, which sometimes can be totally different in some ways.
Yeah.
Something also like where a metric layer can help to do this, or to at least, metric layer is also like then another bridge that we are bridging from data to business again, or maybe back to application engineers. So
yeah, exactly.
Just going back. Okay, so what we can do. So we now basically we have done what you already described before as, let's say, the transformation layer. So we basically defined everything that we would do for transformation to get everything ready. And so in, let's say, the non-metric layer world, what we would do now maybe is like to create 4 or 5 versions of these kind of table to have different kind of tables, which we will then later use in a dashboard, just because we have different kind of use cases and questions that we want to ask.
Yeah, absolutely. And to be concrete, for the questions for team velocity, I'd probably have like a weekly velocity model that I'd create off of this, and then it would have for each week, I'd say the total number of issues that we closed, total number of pull requests, the average amount of time in review. But I'd probably also want maybe like a top contributors model.
Yes.
Where it drills more into the user level. So, who closed the most issues? Who had the best average cycle time? And so that's at least 2 models. And those could answer a handful of questions each. But it's not, but there's another way we could avoid doing those and write no more models, but now move to the metrics.
Yeah.
And we'll define metrics on top of this model that can allow us to answer those questions, whether it's about contributors or weekly team performance or something completely different.
Yeah. Okay, let's design, not really design, but let's define some metrics and some other things.